a garden, and he calls it praise, and he bids us enter to walk through the maze. Well, it's like an ocean, so vast and so free, and God said he made it for you and for me. So I will exalt him with all of my being. I will extol him with all that I am. And if I should falter, all nature will praise him. So I will not glorify his precious name.
In 1975, I moved from Maidstone in Kent to Edinburgh, Scotland. And I went to a church called City Temple. And in that church was a choir. And that choir was called Chord of Love. I was very privileged to join that choir and sing in it for 5 years. I'd like you to listen to some of the music of Chord of Love. So who was in the Chord of Love choir? Well, first of all, we all came from one church, the City Temple, which over the years changed its name to Edinburgh City Fellowship. Some were in our teens, some were in the 20s, some were in the 30s. We all had jobs or were studying. We had one thing in common, and that was our faith in God. We just enjoyed singing about God and our love for Him. And I believe that our enthusiasm also came across in the ministry as we sang both in the church that we're in and also in other parts of Scotland. I'd like you to listen to another song from Chord of Love. So where did the choir sing? Well, of course, we sang in the church. We were also invited to sing at other venues in Edinburgh. And then we received an invitation to tour the UK. And we went away for 2 weeks. We had 12 concerts during that 2-week period in different parts of the UK, in churches, sometimes in large concert halls. It was great excitement. We were young, very enthusiastic, a lot of energy, and we enjoyed singing the songs, praising God in worship, and also hopefully being a blessing to those that listen to our music.
Then I
sing a brand new song. I keep my eyes on Jesus, he keeps me from going wrong. How the folks would laugh and say, what are you trying to prove? I just point them back to the day I heard that wonderful news. I have heard the news that Jesus saves, Jesus saves. I have heard the news that Jesus saves, Jesus saves.
45 years ago, the Chord of Love Choir was invited by Southern Television to appear on a program called Guidelines. So on the 25th of October 1976, the choir went into the studios and recorded for that program. I was the choir administrator at the time, and at the end I was given the tapes of that performance. Those tapes have been with me ever since, and I've travelled extensively in the last 45 years, and they've travelled with me. And when I started this project, I thought, could I find the tapes? And even more importantly, could I access them? Well, the good news, I found them. The challenging news is they were recorded on a machine that had been obsolete for over 30 years. So I couldn't play them. Undaunted, I contacted the Museum of Motion Picture and Television here in Australia, in Perth. And they said, yes, they had a machine. They turned it on and it didn't work. So close to showing you the Chord of Love in concert and yet so far. But they said, there was a person called Arnie, and Arnie lives in Tasmania, which is part of Australia. And if anybody can access these tapes, he's an expert and he can probably do it. And the good news is, he has been able to. So it is with tremendous excitement, I'm thrilled that I can now play you Chord of Love at Southern Television Studios, 25th of October, 1976.
377A, take one.
Well, can you imagine the excitement of the choir when we heard that a record company had asked whether we would make an album? We were fortunate that we recorded 4 albums over the years. The first one was Chord of Love. Then we had Our God Reigns, Living Out Your Kingdom Life, and All Things New. We were thrilled because as we sang at the different concerts, people would go away with some of our music and play them in their homes, and hopefully, we know that they were a blessing to many as they listened to the songs. Why don't you listen to some now? Chord of Love presents Pharaoh's Fantasy. Through dance, drama, song, and narration with a sprinkling of humor, we go back to those heady days, to a Pharaoh who actually believes that he can take on God and come out on top. This proves to be a Disney-type fantasy which crumbles as God puts the screws on. And of course there's Moses, an 80-year-old who, after some gentle persuasion from the Almighty, returns to Egypt and knocks on Pharaoh's door. Sparks begin to fly as the kingdom of light confronts the kingdom of darkness. And the rest is history. And the rest is what the musical is all about. This fast-moving production isn't just about plagues and pyramids. We go behind the scenes and we see the heartbreaks and the hurts of God's people. We look behind Pharaoh's bravado and see a man who in heart is still a little boy. In the second half, the storytelling stops and the whole scenario moves into the 80s. There's an exciting similarity between the Exodus story and what is happening across the land in these days. The conflict between the two kingdoms is hotting up. Light is dispelling darkness. The church moves forward. But most exciting of all, God is setting his people free to love him, who he is, and to draw close to him in praise and worship. So the second half is an expression of praise and worship, a celebration of the King and his Christ. The idea for this musical was conceived by Bill Nisbet, who has written the majority of the songs. Well, it's been 40 years since Chord of Love disbanded, and I thought it'd be fun to recreate the sound of Chord of Love. So with that in mind, I've contacted many choir members, and we have over 30 that have submitted their video to be part of this virtual choir. I hope that you'll enjoy it. It's been fun for us to make it, that you'll also find it a great blessing as you listen to again the sounds and the songs of Chord of Love. May God bless you. So I'd like you to imagine for a moment what it was like for 35, 40 young people traveling around on a bus, going to different venues, both in Scotland and in the UK and sometimes overseas. We had a lot of fun together, a lot of hilarious times. We have some very happy memories. We also loved doing the concerts, and one of the songs that we really enjoyed singing is the one that the virtual choir will be singing now, called My Tribute by Andre Crouch.
Say thanks for the things you have done for me, things so undeserved, that you gave to prove your love for me. The voices of a million angels who will not express my gratitude, all that I am and ever hope to be. I owe it all to thee. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. To God be the glory for the things He has done. With His blood He has saved me. With His power He has raised me. To God be the glory for the things He has done. Just let me live my life and let it be pleasing, Lord, to Thee. And should I gain any praise, let it come to Calvary. With His blood He has saved me. With His power He has raised me. To God be the glory for the things He has done. Just let me live my life and let it be pleasing, Lord, to Thee. And should I gain any praise, let it go to Calvary. With His blood He has saved me. With His power He has raised me. To God be the glory for the things He has done. For the things He has
One of the most popular songs that the choir sang is "He Sets a Fire Within My Heart That Keeps on Burning." And I hope that you'll enjoy the song. Join in, clap, stamp your feet, enjoy.
He sets a fire in my heart that keeps on burning, and in my soul there sings a brand new melody. He is the rock of ages and the great creator. His everlasting arms are ever holding me. He sets a fire in my heart that keeps on burning, and in my soul
that keeps on burning.
And now my soul sings
A brand new melody. He is the rock of ages and the great creator. His everlasting arms are ever holding me. He sets a fire in my heart that keeps on burning.
Now
My soul that sings a brand new melody. He is the rock of ages and the great creator. His everlasting arms are ever holding me. Boom.
Jesus gave himself on
There were 55 people in the Chord of Love choir. Some were singers, there were musicians, there were dancers, there were people who dealt with the lighting and the sound and backstage. You've heard from many of them on this production. In addition to those that you've seen, there have been many who have sent in their prayers and wishes for this project. I'd now like to introduce you to these well-wishers.
Jesus.
There's a song that the choir used to sing. It's good to know that God knows everything about us and he cares. It's good to know that God cares for us. 40 years is a long time. And for most of us, there have been some wonderful experiences and some are not so good experiences. There's been some bumps in the road. But we thank God for his faithfulness and that he's brought us through. Some of our members are no longer with us. They've been seconded to a choir in heaven. We enjoyed singing then, and we've enjoyed putting this virtual choir together now. And our prayer is, as it was in the days that we were in concert, that this will be a blessing and encouragement to many. God bless you.